it's not about what you start in work, but it's about what you finish, right? It doesn't matter how much work you start and stay busy starting, it's what you finish. So one of the main concepts in why we want to do single piece flow or one thing at a time is we don't want to be multitasking. This is one of the concepts of theory of constraints that says bottlenecks occur when there's too much multitasking. There is not enough stuff getting finished, but there's a lot of stuff getting started, right?
Yeah.
And there's various practical demonstrations of that you can do. You can show how when you are processing, we have an exercise in the class with paper plates, and you develop you basically do a pattern and some writing and some stickers on a paper plate, and you do them one at a time down the production line, or you do them as a batch. So the first station does 10 at a time and passes 10 on, and then the second station does 10 at a time and passes 10 on. And people believe, because of the concept of economies of scale, people think, doing large amounts at once is more efficient, economies of scale. But in fact, they are not understanding that it's the transition points between starting one thing and stopping it, and then starting another thing and stopping it, which takes up a lot of time. It's the mind switching that has to go on whenever you move from one activity to another. Multitasking is bad. Batch processing is bad. These are things that are all part of the Toyota production system, all part of lean thinking, and all part of theory of constraints. Now, I always say the single piece flow is the ultimate flow, in a sense that you have no multitasking, no queue, no work in progress. However, it's not always possible to do single piece flow. So if you see, batches being used, there may be a reason for it, and that is that we haven't been able to remove the overhead associated with the batch. And that often happens in transportation, that we transport things in batches because it's just not efficient to transport things one at a time. Think of a cargo ship or a train carriage that's going, from one end of the country to another. You can't be carrying one item at a time necessarily. So there are sometimes barriers to doing one piece flow. And so we like to think of just in time actually meaning doing things in a fair amount of time, just meaning justice, rather than doing things one at a time.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's lost on people a lot, and that was a big problem, especially, whenever you work with printers, especially, they push back on, because, to their point, a printing press is, you don't run one thing at a time, because, to be chemically stable and produce good product, it needs to be, basically running at speed and achieve, an equilibrium. So you can't really do that, one, print at a time. You essentially need batch production to achieve the stability the machine wants, which you can make the argument that then, that's a monument machine versus, the kind of old school Heidelberg hand crank presses. But, no one is going to be printing, 50 million books on a Heidelberg hand press.
Yeah, and as trainers, sometimes we're guilty of exaggerating a theory to the extreme, right? We want to say this is always the case, and this particular principle, the more you do it, the better it is. But sometimes there's actually a sweet spot for that principle. And most people are nowhere near the sweet spot. So we need to get people to the sweet spot, but it doesn't mean that you always have to overdo it.